Hello, I'm Madeline from Sheen Slings, and this is the Artipoppe Zeitgeist carrier, which to my knowledge is the most expensive baby carrier on the market presently. And one I get asked a lot about, a lot of questions, because there's a lot of hype around this carrier. So I'm going to take you through it in great depth. I'm going to show you exactly how it works, talk you through all of the pros and cons of this carrier. And then at the end, I'm going to talk about whether I think it's worth it. And I'm going to compare it to other things. And yeah, try and answer that question. Is it worth it? And does it live up to that hype? So let's shake this carrier out and let's start at the waistband. So the first thing to say about this waistband is it's really actually quite stiff. It's not overly bulky. If you see, it's actually quite thin, but it's very stiffened. So it's very, very firm and very stiff. It's also, if I put it against my body, pretty deep. So if I put it there, it's pretty deep. So actually this is a carrier that can work quite well for petite people. It goes down quite small. But if you are very petite and that you're quite short in your body and you haven't got a lot of space between your rib cage and your hip bone. So actually for me, my rib cage starts here and my hip bones start there. There isn't actually a lot of space in this carrier. I don't find it uncomfortable, but some people might find it a bit diggy if it's really sitting on their ribs or, you know, can't get it comfortable. But some people really like that depth because they find it really stable. And as I said, it's really quite firm, so it doesn't really move, feels very secure. But if we continue talking about it, it does, of course, have the beautiful embroidered logo. And I have to say, actually, the detailing on this carrier is spectacular, as you'd expect for something this expensive. The level of finish is really high. All the quality of materials is really, really high. And that embroidery is actually spectacular up close. But inside the waistband, there is a sizing system, which is actually really nice. And again, you can see, get an idea of the detailing. These actually magnetic shut to each other, so it's all hidden and you own, you know, but really easy to get to if you need to change the sizing, but you don't sort of see it, unlike a lot of other carriers day to day, so it really looks nice. And in here we have 4 poppers. I'm currently on the second one, so I've got 2 done up and 2 not things, and you can just literally unpop them, and they're really heavy duty, and so you can make it wider or you can make it narrower along those sort of 4 steps, and you do the same on both sides, so that you get this back done up onto the second setting. So the first setting, ideal for a newborn or newish born, and then as you can see, it just all snaps shut. So I'm going to start by popping this on my waist, nice and snug, and to give you a bit of an idea of the sizing. So it will go significantly slenderer than me. I'm about a size 10 to 12. Width-wise, it's not going to go super wide. There are a lot of carriers that go a lot wider, and I would say this carrier is good for petite and average size builds and slightly larger builds, but not great for more plus size, fluffier builds. And I think that becomes more apparent in the shoulder straps, but there's definitely carriers that go a lot wider on the waist as well. So now if we come up through the panel, so the panel and the whole carrier is made of this really high-end, luxurious woven material. It comes in lots of different, very fashion-forward prints. Mine's this beautiful iridescent dark green and purple peacock. But the panel is really soft and mouldable, so it moulds across baby's back really well. And we have got this leg padding, which is really soft and spongy for baby's legs. And then I'll get a baby in a second, but let's work up the panel. I'll talk about this in a minute. Then we've got these shoulder straps. And you can see they are actually quite narrow. They're not as wide as a lot of others. And again, this is really useful, really helpful for petite people, people who aren't super broad, because often they find carriers like too bulky or too wide. They're quite narrow, but at the same time, they are spongy, they're moldable, and really comfy. And yeah, it got this beautiful detailing down it and these lovely gold finished buttons for securing. And then if you sort of look, so the padded part is about that long. And then we've got like a continued bit of material that is unpadded, and that gives you sort of more comfort further down your back. But if you are very petite and this is too long, we can actually, so we use this buckle, swoosh, that folds this in half, and then this secures around these gold buttons. And that means this will fit down to a really small sized, really small size for very petite people, but also it allows you to get a tighter carry when you come to back carrying. So everybody usually needs to carry a tighter when they come to back carrying. So this is a great adaptation for back carrying, but I will talk about that in a moment. In terms of these straps, we've got like dual adjust. So these straps can be pulled from that side or from this side. Either way, adjust the same thing. I'm going to let this go because I'm not super petite. I'm quite broad on the back. Oh no, it doesn't adjust both ways. It's not dual adjust, I'm talking rubbish. That adjusts that, and you just have to adjust by backwards pulling. Okay, makes sense. Sorry for that. I'm going to put a baby in it now and then talk about the rest of it. So let me grab my 3 to 4 month age doll. I'm going to settle them in the panel. You can see how it really smooths out over their back, into the back of their knees. This is on the second setting, so this does go smaller. I don't think it fits a brand newborn, and particularly not because it, in terms of the height of the panel, and you'll see in a moment the gape of the panel. But I think that on the smallest setting, this carrier will fit a baby from sort of 6 weeks or so, 6 to 8 weeks. And then as they grow, you can grow through the settings. It's designed to be put on, so I'm putting one strap over, pulling it down and then across, and then I can plug it in. Again, if we look at the length of strap, it doesn't go out super wide. It's going to do a fair bit bigger than me, but not loads bigger than me. So this is not a carrier I'd recommend for size inclusivity. If you are looking for something that is beautiful and more size inclusive, then I really recommend the Lenny Lamb. Lenny Lamb Light or the Lenny Lamb Upgrade. They are gorgeous and much more size inclusive. So I'm going to start to tighten this up, and let's talk about this. So this is the neck support, and I like that they call it a neck support instead of a head support because it is designed to sit behind the back of the neck. The top of the carrier can be a little bit gapey, and this is designed that if that is gaping, we can remove it from the securing here, and we can actually roll it inwards like so, and then come with these elastics back round here. Oh, I wonder if we need to make it even tighter, if we can come even tighter and use these buttons to make it even tighter and help reduce that gape. So if I do that on both sides, that can really help reduce that gape, or come and tie it at the elastics, or in this case, when baby doesn't need it to be as close and they need a bit of space for exploring, then it comes out. And when they're much taller, that's when we can use this to support their neck when they're much taller. So I'm going to reattach that here. So this is the front position, which I actually think this is the only position this carrier does really well. And in this position, it is really very, very, very comfortable. I'm really well supported through my back, and it's comfortable on my thing. That is going to really depend on your body shape and size, and if it fits you, you're going to be comfortable. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So this is facing inwards, and we can do this with a baby, as I said, from about 6 to 8 weeks, and then in terms of the sizing and how it grows, to about 2 years. Then Artipoppe advertised 2 other carrying positions. I actually think it offers a third carrying position. I think it offers a hip carry. So if I do that quickly, I'm going to rotate, I'm going to drop my arm out, rotate to my hip, and this will be then a hip carry, which a lot of parents find really helpful because they can see and chat to baby and talk to them, and baby can see things whilst being really supported. Actually for baby, this does it really well. The really wide waistband on my body, this is now clashing, very wide, very stiff waistband is now clashing with my hip. So this isn't wildly comfortable for me, which I was quite surprised by when I was first trying this carrier, because I find this really comfortable with so many carriers. This is the first one I've ever not found comfortable. Then we also have a forward-facing carry. So the forward-facing carry is made possible via this little insert that comes with the Artipoppe sling. And it is designed that we would take baby out, take the carrier off and put the baby completely down and attach it like so on the straps. Now, because forward facing is something that's designed to do for short bursts, I have a very strong preference that if you are going to get a carrier that forward faces, it's really important to have something that you can do without putting baby down. And so I really like the Tula, the Ergo, the Becco, all of which you can swap between inwards and outwards without putting baby down. Because baby can only be outwards for short periods, there's, generally they need to have enough strength to hold their head up, they need to be awake, and also it's really stimulating. So it's best for short periods. Now, I tell people to turn baby back in before they get tired, and if they can do that easily without putting their baby down, carry fit's another one that you can do it easily. If they can do it easily without putting baby down, then they're going to do it. If you can't do it without putting baby down, then you're not going to do it. And that's going to set you up to fail. So already I don't like this. But I also really don't like this. So once we fit this band inside and I bring this up over baby, two things happen. So it does give this nice scooped out seat for baby, but the top becomes incredibly gapey, incredibly gapey, because, and we've got all this extra material flapping, which doesn't seem great. It's not really doing its job. I've got to find the thing. Also, you can spend all that time getting this on while baby is down, and then it sometimes pings back off. Actually hasn't in this case, but kind of disappeared. So you can see the top has become really gapey. No one is going to be happy with this. And then, so we've got this and it's all like spare, but you can't see this, but I can feel it against baby. Let's see if I can try and recreate it without the carrier on. This panel is pulling, this little adaptation bit, it's pulling super tight against baby. It's like really squashing in, like, it can't be comfortable. I've seen it twice with a real baby and it didn't look comfortable, but because I couldn't see inside, and it wasn't until I've had one to really play with it, I wasn't aware of how tight that must be. I am now going to really be checking for that, but I think that on many cases is just not going to be comfortable. So if you want to forward face, and you want to forward face a lot, I don't think this is a carrier I would recommend for that, because I don't think it's giving a great shape. And I can't see how this insert pulling very tightly against baby's tummy is going to be comfortable. The only analogy I can give is it seems to remind me of like when you're on a roller coaster and those claustrophobic things come down and like hulk against your chest. If you want to forward face, the Ergo, the Tula, the Carry Fit, the Becco Gemini, all better options are all going to give you a more comfortable fit. And then the last carry, the last position, I'm not going to show it, is the back carry. Now, again, you're going to get a really nice fit across baby's back. I'm not showing it because my doll's too small, but and you can get the straps nice and short enough, but there is no interconnecting strap. So when you come to back carry, we tend to carry not crossed across your chest because that can be quite uncomfortable, particularly if you have boobs, but even if not, it can sort of ride up towards your neck and feel quite claustrophobic. So instead we tend to carry like this, and you can see why we now need the strap shorteners. But there is no interconnecting strap. For some shoulder shapes, you'll be fine with no interconnecting strap. I know my husband is. I'm not. So like this, I will just be constantly trying to push the straps back on my shoulder. I need an interconnecting strap, and Artipoppe don't provide one. If you do have an Artipoppe, it's easy to take a shoelace and just tie it and make that chest strap and give that support using a shoelace. However, we talked about how this is the most expensive sling. So this particular model was £360. Do I want to have to take a shoelace to a £360 carrier? No, I do not. But I mean, I can. So if I really love the carrier and I really want to, I could do. But for £360, this carrier, in theory, offers 4 carrying positions, but actually it really only does one of them well. It is really well made and really very beautiful, but it only does one carrying position well. You compare it to like the Ergo, that's £185. It does all 4 positions really well. You compare it to the Tula, it does 3 of those positions really well, £160. You compare it to the Beko Gemini, does all 4 positions really well, 100. Well, no, that's £80. £80. You know, do I think this is good value for money? No, I don't. I really don't. Do I think you need to spend £400? But I hear often people say, oh, I know someone who's got it. They say it's the most comfortable carrier. Every time I've worked with people, I've found, you know, multiple carriers for them that are comfortable. You know, if there are things about this you like that are more comfortable than some of the others I've mentioned, like we haven't mentioned the Manduka XT, which does 3 of these positions really, really, really well, and costs £150 and is super, super comfortable. There are so many other options. I have never been in a situation where I've been trying carriers with someone and the only thing that has worked is the Artipoppe. That's literally never happened. It's more often that they've come in wanting to like the Artipoppe and then tried something else and it's been much more comfortable, much more flexible, much more likely to fulfill their requirements and give them all the flexibility that they want. So do I think it's worth it? No. Do I think you shouldn't buy one? Well, that's really going to come down to you. Like, is £360 or 340, or they go up, an amount of money that is difficult for you? Or is that an amount of money that you can spend on something really beautiful? I don't, you know, like, I can't answer that for you. I'm not personally the sort of person who has loads of really gorgeous shoes or hundreds of handbags. In fact, I don't have any handbags. I walk around with a bag that I got gifted free that's just like a massive mesh carry-all. You know, I don't care about those things, so I would never spend this money. If you really wanted to, yes, but do so knowing that it doesn't fit everybody and that it really only offers one carrying position well. If you have any questions about the carrier, do pop them in the comments below. Bye.